Welcome back. You're watching Business Morning on Channels Television. My next guest on the program is the Director of Research and Advocacy at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Vincent Wani. We're still taking a look at the recently unveiled Economic Recovery Growth Plan and the place of the private sector, which was highlighted quite a lot in that 140-page document. Dr. Wani, thank you for joining me on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So what do you make of this new recovery plan? Does it look like it's a private sector-led plan or same federal government that's reading through it?
Well, it's both. You know, it's a federal government document, and of course there are a lot of inputs from the private sector. They made some consultation, used some of the documents, research documents and feedback documents. We've been supplying them. So it's joint, but it's pure federal government document with good input from the private sector. And we're happy to have this document at this time, though late, but it's better late than never, you know. So we hope that government should begin to really track and do and implement this document, because this is a medium-term plan. You know, between now and 2020, we are expecting electionary activity to start next year. You know, hoping that they will not be distracted by all of those activities. You know, and to be able to see this plan through, and that is the function of the private sector. We will keep on tracking the activities and implementation, reminding them of critical points in this plan, you know, as we move forward. Because over time in Nigeria, we had plans, you know, the 2020 plan, the MDG plan, or whatever plan. The challenge is not plan, how good the plan is. Of course, this plan is not 100%, but it is a good document to start with, coming a little bit late. The issue is implementation. The document actually emphasized a better political will at this time to implement this plan, and that is why we're happy, we're connected, and we're also happy to work with them as far as this plan is concerned.
So reading through the documents, the federal government, as I said again, restated its commitment to work with the private sector. But some analysts have said that there are no cohesive policies to attract private investments. Do you agree with this?
Yeah, I just want to start by saying, of course, there are mention of ease of doing business. You know, for those of us in the private sector, we are not asking government to give us anything apart from making the investment environment friendly. You know, reforming the port, making sure that electricity is there and you get it at the right price, you know, tax system, and all of just little things that are within the purview of government to do. The document made mention of that, though not in detail. But the good news is that we now have the Ease of Doing Business Council under the Vice President that is already doing something. So we're channeling our effort to that. You know, one of the ways through which this plan will succeed is making sure that private sector confidence return, making sure that we are able to invest. You know, and in doing so, the business environment should be a little bit more friendly. Today, where the World Bank Ease of Doing Business ranking, I think Nigeria is number 169 out of 185. That is very poor for a country that is 26th largest economy in the world and first in Africa. So this is a mismatch, you know. And the good news is that if we address the ease of doing business and move from, of course, federal government set a target of moving 20 steps towards number 1. You know, we will soon try and evaluate that target. But if we get our ease of doing business right, private investors, both local and foreign, will likely their confidence will come back, and those of them that have run away or waiting to come in will come in. Over the last 1-2 years, we've seen a lot of business shrink, either close up or even relocate to neighboring countries. I want this trend to stop.
Dr. Wani, at this time, the challenge is actually trying to work with the private sector to get Nigeria out of recession and also still stay in business. So it has to be a win-win situation for all parties. And there have been various reforms, talking about the port reforms, talking about even manufacturing reforms, and talking about the Industrial Revolution Plan. These are all reforms that the government has actually come up with to try to see how they can work with the private sector. Do you think that there are some aspects of these reforms or maybe of these policies that need to be reviewed or even maybe expunged?
I think no. For now, we don't have time to review or expunge now. What we have time to is to implement what we already have on ground. I think 2 weeks ago, the federal government came with the 60-day ease of doing business target or plan. Let it be implemented. We've seen them, one of them relating to port is to cut down the number of agencies operating in the port from whatever it is today to 6. That's a good target, because today we have about 14 agencies operating in the port, and if you expand and bundle these agencies, you see something about 20-something. To import, you need 33 signatures. To export, you need about 23 signatures or so. You know, these are challenges, but if government is able to make their border a little bit more efficient and easy, a lot of goods coming into the country come through either smuggling or through neighboring countries. If you do that, because government is a win-win situation, we do more business, government will earn more tax or more duty from the border. You know, and if you also do that, the easiness of exporting, you know, our non-oil products will be there, and when we export, we earn foreign exchange, and that will assist federal government in solving the foreign exchange crisis. Like I said, it's a win-win situation. As we do that, employment is created. As we do that, people will be confident on the government. Of course, we have 2018, 2019 general election coming, and these are the time that we'll try to evaluate this government in the public space. And
then, of course, you also must remember that most Nigerians will be looking at organized private sector to see what they will also be doing at this time to align themselves with this particular plan. Before now, it always seemed as if, well, most would always say that they were not properly consulted. There wasn't any proper engagement. But I'm glad you actually highlighted the fact that in this particular document, it's shown that there's been a lot of infusing of the private sector. But for LCCI, what at this time would they be doing, or would they continue to do to ensure that their members align with the plan as encapsulated in this economic recovery growth plan?
Yeah, what we're doing right now at LCCI is helping the ease of doing business office and the vice president's office